Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. The news is live from our studio here in Accra. I am Enu Safo. Coming up, minority in Parliament demands immediate release of 10 billion Ghana cedis owed to cocoa farmers and licensed buying companies. Also coming up, self-styled evangelist Patricia Pieje, alias Nana Agrada's sentence reduced from 15 years to 12 months.
It is not something that we prayed for. Our prayer was for the conviction to be set aside. But in the wisdom of the courts, he has upheld the conviction and rather reduced the sentencing from 15 years to 1 year.
Still ahead, Ministry of Works and Housing completes 251 resettlement homes for displaced Akosombo Dam spillage victims.
So far, we've done 251 units. Some contractors are still moving to site to ensure that we are able to finish the first phase of the 1,010.
And later, a former sports minister, Neelante Vanderpoy, warns against using state funds to airlift supporters to the 2026 World Cup.
My only problem has to do with the decision of the white paper on the Jamaica Commission that says that the state must not finance any supporters to any tournament involving our national teams, not only the Black Stars.
The bulletin is also live across our partner stations in the Upper West region. You're listening to us live on Tupani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli. In Jurapa, you're listening to us on Jurapa FM 96.1. In the Upper East region, you're listening to us on Rekas 92.1 FM in Bongo Namo. In Navrongo, you're listening to us on Mike 105.3 FM. In the Northern region, we're live on North Star Radio 92.1 FM in Tamale. In the Northeast region, we're live on Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalarugu. If you're in the Western region, you're listening to us on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takoradi. Across the globe, we're live on citinewsroom.com.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for choosing us. Let's settle for the details of our stories. The Ministry of Works and Housing says 251 housing units have been completed under Phase 1 of the resettlement project for victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage. The project, which began in 2024, is expected to deliver 1,010 homes in Phase 1 with an additional 1,215 units planned for Phase 2. Speaking during a visit by the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, Minister for Works and Housing Kenneth Gilbert Ajay, said work is ongoing to ensure the timely completion of Phase 1.
In all, 2,225 homes were validated to be worked on. The project actually started in 2024, but in 2025, when we took office, that's when we started actually hitting the ground running with the housing itself. And we put it into phases. Phase 1, we are supposed to do 1,010 homes. And this is for the 3 highly affected districts, that is the 3 Tong, South, Central, and North Tong. It's currently ongoing. Some contractors are still moving to site to ensure that we are able to finish the first phase of the 1,010 before we move to the second phase of the project. The second phase will be 1,215 housing units. But the budget this year gave us 326 million for it. And we are still negotiating to get more so that we can complete it for the good people that were affected by the spillage.
The minister also disclosed that more than 2,000 people have benefited from the National Rental Assistance Scheme as of 2025, with the program recording a 99% repayment rate. He added that government is taking steps to recapitalize the scheme following the significant growth of its seed fund from 27 million Ghana cedis to 71.7 million Ghana cedis.
The National Rental Assistance Scheme was brought in to ensure that to help with this high cost of rental housing. And so far, we've supported 2,031 new beneficiaries in 2025, bringing the cumulative beneficiary to 4,732 since inception. And we've achieved 99% repayment rate, proving high scheme sustainability from an initial seed capital of 27 million cedis. The fund has grown to approximately 71.7 million. So going forward, we are looking at recapitalizing the scheme, having engagement with some financial institutions to partner with us and see how we can open it up and spread it to other regions that are currently not enjoying it.
That was the Minister for Works and Housing, Kenneth Gilbert Ejay. Now, the Ministry of Health says it is collaborating with regional authorities to address housing and logistical challenges facing newly posted medical officers. This follows concerns raised by some doctors over the lack of basic amenities in their assigned districts. Speaking to Citi News, however, the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry, Tony Goodman, said it will not yield to pressure to change postings outside the approved framework.
What we are doing is to engage the development agents in these various districts and regions. The minister went to Savannah and has been to Uti. He's visiting most of these regions. And in these regions, what he's doing is to meet MCs, MPs, regional ministers, chiefs, so that together they can find a lasting solution to this. The issues raised by the medical officers is that when they go, they don't get decent accommodation, they don't have transportation and other logistical needs they've mentioned. The minister is meeting with them to get them to at least put in place some moderate but decent accommodation for them in their various districts, so that when they are posted, these officers can go. He's also asked them to provide some transportation means for them, and other logistics that they have also requested for. Because he said the ministry will continue to post. If they refuse, we have decided that we are not going to change their postings, but the regions must do something in order to make sure that these people accept posting.
Mr. Goodman added that medical officers who accept postings to rural areas will benefit from an accelerated career path, including early promotions and prioritized access to scholarships.
The other thing we are doing as a ministry is also to provide incentives to them when they get these postings and accept them. When you go to these areas, what happens is that your promotion years decreases. You have the chance of going to postgraduate to do postgraduate program earlier than anybody who is in the city. You also have the chance to have other scholarship programs abroad and other places. So we have put in place all of these, but it's up to also the development agents in these areas to also assist us to do what we are doing.
You heard the Public Relations Officer for the Health Ministry, Tony Goodman. Let's go to Parliament, where the minority is calling on government to immediately pay the over 10 billion Ghana cedis owed licensed buying companies for onward payment to cocoa farmers. The minority says cocoa farmers have not been paid for beans supplied on credit since November 2025. Addressing journalists, the ranking member on the Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee, Isaac Yaopoku, said government must release the funds as soon as possible.
A farmer called a week ago and said he has sold 100 bags of cocoa, and yet he could not buy blood pressure medicine to treat his ailment. Another farmer said his wife was seriously ill but had no money to purchase drugs prescribed by her doctor because of non-payment of his cocoa. Other farmers are struggling to send their wars to school. For the first time in the history of this country, cocoa farmers had to literally postpone the celebration of Christmas, all because they had not been paid for their produce. We call on governments and cocoa board to pay our cocoa farmers immediately for all cocoa beans sold and to be sold to save the cocoa industry from slipping back to days of despondency and loss of interest. We demand an apology from government and cocoa board for this gross dereliction of duty.
The minority also alleged a leadership conflict between the chief executive officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board and the managing director of Cocoa Marketing Company, which they believe has resulted in the delay in the payment of cocoa farmers.
After coming into office, the NDC reversed the policy and only about 30% of the projected crop was sold forward this 2025-2026 crop year. They were daydreaming and thinking that prices will remain high and were selling at spot until prices started tumbling. Another main cause is the internal struggle within Cocoa Board. There is a serious leadership conflict between the chief executive of Cocoa Board and the managing director of Cocoa Marketing Company. This conflict has disrupted work of sales and pricing committee, what is known in Cocoa Board as Sales Executive Committee. And because of this internal fighting, critical decisions were either delayed or poorly executed.
Ranking member on the Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee, Isaac Yao Opoku there. A former public affairs officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, has also raised concerns about an alleged leadership clash at Ghana Cocoa Board. He claims tensions between the chief executive officer of Cocoa Board and the managing director of the Cocoa Marketing Company are weakening decision-making at the top of the cocoa sector. Speaking to Citi News, Mr. Boafo says the situation is also diverting attention from urgent efforts to stabilize payments and settle debts owed to cocoa farmers.
This friction has existed from that time to date. Because of this friction, I am reliably informed that even the executive committee meeting, when they are even called, does not produce the necessary result expected. The result of this is that cocoa price at the time government was announcing the farm gate price was around 8,000. Government and Cocoa Board has failed to sell the cocoa at the time the price was high. As a result of that, now they are unable to sell the cocoa. So off-takers are not getting the cocoa. They are not sending documents to effect that they have sent cocoa the other direction. So money is not coming in and they are stuck. And this is what has brought all the chaos we've seen the last 3 months where farmers are not getting paid.
Fifi Boafo is a former public affairs officer at the Ghana Cocoa Board. Moving away from cocoa issues, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has reiterated that DV number plates are for restricted use only. The authority says DV plates are issued strictly to licensed car dealers and manufacturers and must not be used as a substitute for full vehicle registration. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, the DVLA's Director of Communication, Stephen Atu, explained that the plates are meant for temporary use and warned that prolonged use on public roads is not permitted.
I think the dealers have allowed for a misuse of the DV plates itself. When you go to LI 2180, that is the road traffic regulations, you go to regulation 23, it spells out clearly what a trade license is, how a person could acquire a trade license and all of that. But the use of a DV plate has a lot of limitations. These DV plates that are with this category of individuals, they are required to fix it on a vehicle. As soon as you are done, they take it off. So they are not even expected to be selling the DV plates if truly they are using them for the purpose for which they are issued to them. I don't know how they are engaging and how they are getting. But we believe that the public now having become aware that this is the price at which we've issued it. If you fall within that category,
so if a dealer wants to,
so
if a dealer wants to sell it to you beyond the 417, then you will know that they are cheating, which is why the chief executive put the figure out yesterday. Correct?
Exactly.
You heard the Director of Communication at the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Stephen Attu there. You're still listening to the City Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we return, we'll tell you how self-styled evangelist Patricia Pieje, alias Nana Agrada's sentence was reduced from 15 years to 12 months. Do stay.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
My friends, I'm a very happy man. Let me share my testimony. I needed a home at a prime location, but I didn't have enough money. The little I had was too small to buy even a studio apartment, but a friend of mine introduced me to invest to own from Priority View Homes. I invested the little money I had for only 2 years. True to their word, at the maturity date, I qualified for a 2-bedroom luxury apartment at a prime location in Accra. Now look at me, living in my own home without the usual hassle. If you want a stress-free home to live in, I would advise you to sign up to their invest-to-own policy and say cheers to a new home. You may call Priority View Homes Limited on 055-588-2294, 055-588-2294, and you will never regret you did. Priority View Homes. There's no place like home.
We are gearing up for the trip of a lifetime. Heritage Caravan 2026. From 1st to 8th March 2026, 8 days, 14 regions, 1 legendary caravan. We're touring Ghana in the most spectacular way on the Heritage Caravan, exploring the beauty, history, and stories that make our nation unique. Rolling out from Greater Accra through Eastern and OT, up north to the Northern and Upper East, and all the way to the Western region, hitting iconic destinations across Ghana. The Heritage Caravan 2026 will be fun, educative, refreshing, and most of all, remarkable. Stay connected. Follow Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM across all social media platforms for updates and join the conversation using the hashtag Heritage Caravan 2026. The Heritage Caravan 2026 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from Citi FM, and it's proudly sponsored by Hollard Insurance, Piva Beverages, Omni Basic Bank, Caveman Watches, Gino, and Didi Shito, and it's supported by Nanes Rice. Heritage Caravan 2026, experience Ghana like never before.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back to the City Prime News. Do remember that the bulletin is live on our partner stations in the Ashanti region. We're on Focus 94.3 FM on the KNUST campus in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're on Stella Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala. In Aplau, we're on Holy FM 98.5, and in the Savannah region, we're on Kasha 99.5 FM in Damongo, and in the Buno region, we're live on Greener 95.9 FM also in Sunyai. Let's do some more stories. The Amasaman High Court has reduced the prison sentence of controversial evangelist Patricia Siedu, popularly known as Nana Agrada, to 12 calendar months. The court ruled that the original sentence of 15 years with hard labor was harsh and excessive, but upheld her conviction. The revised sentence takes effect from July 3, 2025, the date of her conviction, meaning Nana Agrada will serve a total of 12 months in prison. Her lawyer, Richard Asare-Boafo, addressed the media after the ruling.
The sentence has been reduced to 12 calendar months. This should be good news for your side, isn't it?
Exactly so. It is not something that we prayed for. Our prayer was for the conviction to be set aside. But in the wisdom of the courts, he has upheld the conviction and rather reduced the sentencing from 15 years to 1 year. I think it's a good news. And already he spent about 7 months imprisonment, so I'm sure she'll be out very soon.
Certainly. So a lot of who has followed this, the conviction was on 3rd July, if I'm not wrong.
That's correct.
If I'm not wrong, and so that means that some 5 months more to go for her, I believe.
There's a calculation to that, so let's keep our calm. Definitely she'll come out.
Now we know that at the court below, she was fined 25 penalty unit for the charlatanic advertisement. Has that been paid already?
No, that one, it was 25 penalty units in default of 1 month imprisonment. She has already served that jail term.
Now we know that the judge also gave her 200 penalty unit for the charges of defrauding by force pretense. What is your reaction to that?
That one will be paid immediately before we leave court.
We also told that she's supposed to the monies that were proved to have been collected, 500 cedis each of two complainants, making 1,000 cedis by February 24. What have you heard from her or her
That
husband?
is where the wisdom of the judge comes in. A person is found guilty of having defrauded another person of the sum of 1,000 Ghana cedis and impose an imprisonment term of 15 years. It's clearly ridiculous. So that has been set aside, and the 1,000 cedis is not something that cannot be paid. Indeed, it will be paid today before we leave here.
For a lot of people who have followed this, who have been loyal persons who believe in the evangelist Patricia Siedua, what will the legal team say to them for the support all this while?
It has been a very stressful past few months, but we are in us believing in our case and staying true to us. From day one, we have maintained that the 15-year jail term was too excessive, and today the court has spoken, and that is it. The law is what it is.
What will you say to someone who says that even after everything, though it has been reduced, even if she finished serving it, she remain an ex-convict? How would that have on her own calling as a minister of the Lord?
There are so many. If you read the Bible, there are several of them that went into jail. But eventually, that doesn't change the calling on them. So he's not the first person to be jailed. We have so many prominent figures in Ghana and even outside Ghana who were once, at a point in their lives, were jailed.
Counsel for Nana Grada, Richard Asaraba, for speaking to our court correspondent Hansen Ajiman, who is on the phone lines to give us more details on this particular story. Hansen, thanks for joining us. The High Court described the initial 15-year sentencing as harsh and excessive. What specific legal reasoning did the judge provide for such a drastic reduction to 12 months?
So for the judge, consideration of the law that imposes the offense of defrauding by false pretense, there's a maximum sentence of 25 years, but there's no minimum. And so what it means is that a person who is found guilty of the offense of having been sentenced to or offense of defrauding by false pretense, such a person can't be jailed from 1 day to 25 years. And this poses a discretion on the court. And the court, in issuing that, in exercising this discretion, must consider not the person involved alone, but also the circumstances surrounding the particular crime. And if you look at the crime afterwards, was proved at the circuit court, which is the trial court. It was 1,000 Ghana cedis that was proved to have been taken from congregants and in the form of defrauding by pretense. And so for the judge to send someone to 15 years for defrauding cedis, that amounts to giving the person more than a year in jail for every 100 cedis that she defrauded, and he thought that was harsh in itself. He made reference to the case of Republic versus Solomon, where he was given 8 years in jail for causing financial loss to the state of about 1 million Ghana cedis. And he noted that in that particular judgment, the idea of the court considering the kind of crime in determining the judgment should be keen. He also indicated that if you look at that particular Solomon judgment, there was the point by the judge that if the accused person and the convict had averted his mind to refunding some of the monies alleged or some of the monies that caused financial loss to the state, it would have impacted the sentence that Agrada Salome in that particular case was supposed to experience. And so, in bringing comparison or comparing it to the current case of Agrada, it indicates that if Agrada is minded to reach money of 1,000 Ghana cedis, and that should impact the amount of years or months she should stay in jail. And as a result, he ordered that the 1,000 cedis should be paid to the complainant, and then she should stay in jail for 12 months.
Right. Hanson, briefly tell us reactions from her family members and her husband and the congregants, and indeed the complainants. What were their reactions if they were in court?
Well, she was in her usual white shirt and black skirt. The only thing unusual today, particularly, is that in previous sittings, she had come to court feeling face with Iraq, or for want of better description. But this time around, she was in court with her face open to the camera, even before the judgment was read. She did not show any signs particularly, but only follow the directions of the prison officers into the vehicle that to the court premises. But her lawyer indicated to us that she's indeed excited. Her husband was visibly excited, even though he did not speak any words. He had a shirt beneath his shirt where there were inscriptions "Pray every day," and he indicated that that has to this good news that they've heard, and so he was visibly excited.
Thank you very much for that update. Hanson Ajaman is our legal affairs correspondent. Let's stay in court, though, because the legal team of the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entry-Boesiakun, says it will file a submission of no case to answer in the Summer Boy trial. The prosecution has closed its case after 4 witnesses testified over allegations of unlawfully assigning a mining concession. Speaking to Citi News, one of the lawyers, Enoch Afuakwa, says the defense is confident their client has no case to answer.
We have indicated clearly to the court, and the court has graciously granted us the opportunity, which is a matter of law and part of our criminal procedures, to file a submission of no case to answer, because having gone through the prosecution's case, we believe that there is no case to answer as far as the accused persons are concerned. In respect of the accused persons, we are talking about A1 and A3, that is Mr. Bernard Entry-Boesiakun and Akonta Mining Company Limited. So certainly, we pray the court to give us a 30-day time within which we can be able to put our thoughts together. But the court granted us 14-day leave to file our submission of no case to answer before the court, or not before the 18th of February 2026. And we are on court. Similarly, as per the procedures of court or the rules of court, once we are unable to file within the stipulated time that the court has ordered us or directed us to file, we will apply to the court for leave to file out of time. But we believe fervently that the accused persons have no case to answer as far as matters that have gone on in court are concerned.
Enoch Afuakwa is lawyer for NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry-Boesiakun, popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi. The Adabraka District Court has remanded a police officer, Gift Diopon, over the fatal shooting of a taxi driver at Tetegunia Wager. She's accused of killing Edward Ewukusu following a confrontation. Her plea was not taken, and the court ordered her remand to reappear on February 25, 2026. Former Sports Minister Edwin Nee Lante van der Poy says he will not support the idea of government airlifting supporters to the USA, Canada and Mexico to cheer on the Black Stars at the FIFA World Cup. He cited the findings of the Jamefe Commission, which advised against using public funds for such initiatives. Van der Poy made the comments in response to recent remarks by Sports Minister Kofi Adams, insisting that any such initiative should be driven by corporate support.
My only problem has to do with the decision of the white paper on the Jamepe Commission that says that the state must not finance any supporters to any tournament involving our national teams, not only the Black Stars. So going by private initiative, mobilizing private funds and private resources to be able to achieve this very important objective is a very worthy cause. And I think I will commend the minister for it. What is important is the caveat he brought, that the number of supporters and who will be going will be dependent on how much you will raise from that fundraising. In South Africa, for example, we had Stanbic, we had GMPC, we had other corporate institutions coming in to sponsor some of the supporters who went to the World Cup in South Africa.
Former Sports Minister Edwin Nilante van der Poy there, and that's how we end today's edition of the City Prime News. I am Inusafu. Do remember that we'll be updating you hourly on 97.3 City FM. But many thanks for tuning in. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.